Tonight, an Ontario mom wants answers after her teen son disappears in northern Saskatchewan. The controversial University of Regina Students' Union faces a vote to dissolve the organization. There's a new corn maze in Saskatoon that's getting a lot of buzz.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, September 24th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Hi there, thanks for watching. An Ontario mother is desperately searching for answers after her 16-year-old son went missing in the spring. It happened after he moved to Pelican Narrows First Nation, about 415 kilometers northeast of Saskatoon. Leo Marco Omene has the story.
Josiah Weblong is from Brampton, Ontario, where he lived with his 4 siblings and mother, Shanice Long. Long says the last time she communicated with her son was over Instagram in mid-May. But the last time she saw him at home was 2 months earlier, on March 27th. The teen had left home one night to go to a friend's house and never came back.
Why can't you give this friend's name? Where does this friend live? So many things was running through my mind. And when I would video call him, the background didn't look presentable. Like the walls were peeling, and he would hold the phone pretty close so I couldn't see the whole surrounding.
Long says she tried to file a missing persons report March 29th. But she says police told her it wasn't possible because she was still communicating with him. Police believe Josiah left Ontario in March before traveling to Saskatchewan. When he turned 16 in April and still didn't come home, his mother filed a missing persons report. Communication between the teen to his mother suddenly stopped May 16th. RCMP were able to track down the address where they believed he had been living in Pelican Narrows. When they arrived, they were told the teen had left due to wildfire evacuations. The RCMP deemed the case suspicious, and the Major Crimes Unit took over the investigation. Long says police were able to track her son to Pelican Narrows due to information from someone who saw his missing persons poster online. But his mother says her son never once told her he was in Saskatchewan.
I don't have family there. I don't know anyone there. So once I got news that it was there he was last tracked to, I was shocked. Josiah is very much so loved, and he needs to come back home.
Long says her family is continuing to share Josiah's missing persons poster across social media platforms in hopes of getting more information about his disappearance. The RCMP says it's still investigating. Aliyah Marco Omene, CBC News, Regina.
Section 33 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, known as the Notwithstanding Clause, is one of the most controversial parts of the Canadian Constitution. It's being discussed in Saskatchewan courts this week related to a court case against the provincial government's pronoun policy. Jeremy Warren has more.
The provincial government wants the Supreme Court of Canada to hear its appeal of a lower court ruling on Saskatchewan's school pronoun law. The province is seeking leave to appeal, basically asking the Supreme Court to hear its case. It also wants the court to expedite the appeal application because the case is of national importance. The province argues the case raises questions about the court's jurisdiction when the Notwithstanding Clause is invoked. Premier Scott Moe's Saskatchewan Party government introduced the pronoun policy in 2023. By law, schools must get parental consent for students under 16 before using their chosen name or pronoun. The University of Regina Pride Centre challenged the policy in court. It argued the policy violates the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and puts 2 LGBTQ+ students at risk of harm. In response, the province invoked the Notwithstanding Clause. This rarely used measure lets governments override certain charter rights for 5 years. In 2024, the court ruled in favor of UofR Pride and denied the province's request to toss the case. The government appealed. In August, the Saskatchewan Court of Appeal ruled the UofR Pride challenge can continue. Now the two sides are preparing for a possible hearing at the Supreme Court. The province wants the Supreme Court to hear the case alongside a challenge of Quebec's religious symbol laws. The Quebec government invoked the notwithstanding clause when it passed a law preventing public sector workers from wearing religious symbols on the job.
So you have this clash over federalism happening at the same time that the provinces are seeing they're losing at the Supreme Court of Canada. And so the province's new logic is, well, we got to use the notwithstanding clause to win. We can't just rely on thinking the courts are going to be fair to us anymore. And that has put pressure on them to do this.
The Supreme Court has not yet decided if it will hear Saskatchewan's appeal. Jeremy Warren, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Regina's newest public school has celebrated its grand opening. Tawâw School is the public side of a $68 million joint use space. It will have 800 students from Regina's public and Catholic school boards. It also has a childcare center and community space. Tawâw School replaces McDermott and Imperial schools, which were torn down this summer. Students say the school is welcoming.
Over here, I feel like I can breathe and talk to people and express myself because there's so much room. And when I come to school, when I'm having a bad day, everything looks bright. Everything tells me, yeah, my day can be brightened as well.
Tawâw is a Cree word which translates to come in, you're welcome, there's room. The Catholic side of the facility is replacing St. Peter and St. Michael schools. It will open for classes in January. Students at the University of Regina were meeting Wednesday about their embattled students' union. They were supposed to vote on whether to dissolve it, but as Katie Swires reports, the meeting did not go as planned.
Next presenter, please.
This watch party at the University of Regina came together last minute. Many students had no clue how to attend a decisive vote on whether to dissolve their student union. The meeting was switched to a virtual one and login codes were provided last minute.
I'm currently trying to get in on my phone. I got booted from the meeting and I'm still waiting to get accepted back in. So hopefully I can have my say and my voice will be heard.
Students were asked to vote on a resolution that would not only dissolve the student union, but also release the union from liability relating to the union's operations. Regina police are investigating its finances. The union is no longer supported by the University of Regina and was evicted from campus last month.
I want every attendee with their hand in the air to be heard. That is how this works.
The meeting quickly became heated, with students expressing anger over the format and voting process. The number of students in the meeting fluctuated. Many were concerned about who was allowed to vote. Several students also say they're hoping for a new student union with stronger oversight.
We feel confident that they can be replaced, whether they continue to technically exist as a nonprofit off campus on paper or not.
If the student union population has voted and decided that they want to do a new direction, that is their own decision, but it is crucial for there to be student representation at every student or at every institution.
A governance researcher agrees, saying other Canadian student unions have faced similar financial scandals, but he says having a student government voice is critical.
Democratic representation of students is a long-standing practice in Canada going back over 100 years.
I have gone through all the notes of all the concerns raised. I gotta have to go with the adjournment of this meeting.
In the end, the meeting was adjourned without voting whether to dissolve the organization. We're told a vote will happen, but no date has been set. Katie Swires, CBC News, Regina.
Some good news for parents in Alberta. A teacher strike may have been averted. The government has struck a tentative deal with the union representing 51,000 Alberta teachers. In a statement, Finance Minister Nate Horner says, quote, both parties have agreed to form a tentative agreement based on shared priorities, and members will vote on the tentative agreement in the coming days, end quote. Teachers will actually vote on the deal from Saturday until Monday. The RCMP have arrested a former Royal Bank of Canada employee for allegedly accessing Prime Minister Mark Carney's banking profile. The suspect worked at a branch near Parliament Hill. He allegedly used the bank's technology services as part of a criminal plot. The charges against the 23-year-old include fraud, identity theft, and tracking in identity information. It's also alleged the man accessed a banking profile of Justin Trudeau. However, the RCMP confirms that the Justin Trudeau named in court documents is not the former Prime Minister. A celebration of National Tree Day with free trees in Regina. The city gave away more than 1,000 Siberian larch seedlings in Victoria Park this morning. They also came with tips on how to plant and care for the new trees. The Queen City has more than 500,000 hand-planted public and private trees. Trees help remove carbon emissions, help with flood control, and of course, on days like today, are crucial for natural shade. We will be back, including weather, after the break. Jimmy Kimmel highlighted the importance of free speech as he made an emotional return to late-night TV on Tuesday night. ABC suspended his show last week after he made comments related to the killing of U.S. right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Ali Chiasson has more on Kimmel's big night.
Jimmy Kimmel's return had raw emotion.
You understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't...
And here he is setting the record straight on his intentions behind his remarks on Charlie Kirk's death.
I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. And also, selfishly...
You know who's not clapping? The people behind Kirk's media company, Turning Point USA. A spokesperson tweeted this: "Not good enough, Jimmy," along with what they would have wanted to hear.
There are certain people who are never going to be satisfied, no matter what he says.
I spoke with the executive TV editor at Variety magazine about reaction and ratings.
It's looking like right now the monologue on YouTube is doing some of the best numbers that Jimmy Kimmel has ever done.
Remember, not everyone could tune in on TV, because two companies that own about 70 ABC stations said they're still not airing his show. Important to note that those companies, Nexstar and Sinclair, have deals in the works that require FCC approval.
I think for those stations, they missed out on getting eyeballs to their newscasts as well before Jimmy Kimmel Live, and they obviously couldn't sell advertising during what was a huge show last night. But those corporations have bigger fish to fry with the FCC.
That didn't stop Kimmel from poking fun at them, with Robert De Niro playing FCC Chair Brendan Carr.
But it seems like the FCC is using mob tactics to suppress free speech.
What did you just say to me?
The thesis of the episode being,
this show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. Yeah!
Nexstar says they're continuing to preempt the show, but after Tuesday's episode, the company said they're having productive discussions with Disney about how to potentially move forward with Jimmy Kimmel Live. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, is it July? Is it the end of September? Only Ethan Williams can definitively answer that. What a lovely day outside.
Gorgeous. I'm going to combine the 2 months. July-tember, maybe we should be calling it from now on, or maybe Ogtober next month when this warm weather is likely to continue. Yeah, definitely a warm one, especially through south and central Saskatchewan, getting into the 30s in some locations. But notice how this cold front is playing havoc on temperatures in the province, basically cutting it in half. Warm in the south, and then up in the north, temperatures only managing to get into the mid to upper teens. Although this is a good 5 to 10 degrees normal for this time of year for that part of the province as well. Meanwhile, back down south, there is a very good chance that some of us came pretty close to records. And in Regina, it looks like we just might have tied our record for September 24th, as a lot of us get over the 30-degree mark. Even into east central Saskatchewan, we had a couple of temperatures close to 30 and a couple of degrees off of records in places like Nipawin and Hudson Bay. But would you believe it? We're talking about 30-degree temperatures. We are also talking about the risk of frost overnight as we go Wednesday into Thursday in parts of central Saskatchewan. Saskatoon included in this, along with Prince Albert and the Battlefords. Look for temperatures to drop near or even slightly below the freezing mark overnight. That is all thanks to this cold front, of course, that I mentioned when we took a look at the daytime highs, and this dome of high pressure, which is starting to move in. So clearing things out, calming the winds down, and really dropping temperatures as we head overnight. High pressure stays in place for Thursday, so a nice sunny day for much of the province. As that moves away, though, that allows this area of low pressure to develop. And we see some showers beginning to move into central and northern parts of the province. I think by and large that'll intensify as that gets mostly into Manitoba. But still, for portions of the north, we could see a few pockets of heavy rain, especially the further east you are, maybe in the range of 15 to 20 millimeters if you're in a line from South End up to the Wollaston Lake area, maybe as far south as La Ronge, but just a sprinkle out further west in portions of northern Saskatchewan. All these systems moving through going to keep the winds breezy over the next few days. Starting to pick up as we get into Friday, gusts 50 to 60 overnight into the kind of wee hours of Friday morning, sticking with us on Friday and likely into Saturday as well. But there is no real significant end to this warm weather, this above seasonal weather, as the jet stream stays well to the north of the province over the next while. And so temperature-wise, that means that we'll be sitting low 20s for Thursday, Friday after the passage of that cold front through Regina and the south. But things quickly warming back up as we get into the weekend with mid-20s returning. Yes, the wind is going to be there from time to time, but you notice lots of sunshine in this forecast as well. Same for Saskatoon, a bit of a breezy start to Thursday, and then the winds pick up again as we get into Friday. But the temperatures quickly picking up. Maybe a chance of a shower Tuesday, Wednesday, just a slight risk at this point. But look at those overnight lows, and specifically, Sam, look at Wednesday. I'll remind you, this is the 1st of October. Definitely not feeling like it.
Does this mean snowsuits at Halloween yet?
That is a little too far out. I'll wait.
Okay. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Well, if you're in Saskatoon and looking for something fun to do that's seasonal, how about a corn maze? They're fun to walk through, but what about making them? We went behind the scenes to see how it's done.
It's not actually easy. When I first came here, I thought it was going to be a little bit easier than it was, but I went in without a map and I had to call for help, so I did not get out the first time. This is our first year, my first year actually seeing how it's done. And I know that the old owners, they've been helping us so much. And I know he does it without GPS, so like a more traditional, very hands-on way. But I did not expect the work that it was. So first off, you pick your theme. We picked the bumblebees this year. And then you come up with a design on just like grid paper, just something easy like that. And then once you have your map, you have to count. You have to measure the whole field, which is 8 acres, I believe, maybe 10. When you're measuring, you have to put a stake or a flag at every single point on that grid. And then after that, after the whole thing is mapped out, you walk along a mower and you say, okay, go up to this point, now stop, now turn right, and you go piece by piece through the whole maze trying to mow it for the first time. It made me really nervous because I can't see it while it's growing. If there's a mistake that was made, you kind of only have 2 chances to fix it because the corn will grow back after the first cut. So if you make one mistake, okay, don't cut it again, it'll grow back. So the corn, we get a lot of questions about this, and it's actually part of our rules is to not eat or touch the corn because it is cattle corn. So we don't like it. You're not gonna like it. So we take that down, and then we have some farmers that we give it to in our area and stuff like that, or we use it for compost. So yeah, we always tell people don't eat the corn, but they never listen. Doesn't matter, they're not gonna like it.
It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me, at tea time, everybody agrees.
How bit of Taylor Swift's anti-hero. Her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, is to come out October 3rd, and Swifties will be able to celebrate together at Cineplex and AMC theaters across Canada. Release party will feature the premiere of the music video, The Fate of Ophelia, along with behind-the-scenes footage and new lyric videos. Screenings run through 3 days to October 5th. We'll be back after the break. With a 10-3 record, the Saskatchewan Roughriders sit atop the West Division and the CFL. But going into their bye week, there was no joy. The 48-31 loss to Montreal at Mosaic Stadium was something of a wake-up call, says head coach Corey Mace. An early interception and costly penalties left the Riders behind from the first quarter, something they never really recovered from. But now Mace says the team is in a good headspace.
I think during, before going into the bye, people were pissed off. But you love that, you know what I mean? It's because of the expectations of themselves, and when you don't meet that, that's a hard pill to swallow. But they do know, like we've been to this point, you get another opportunity to fix that. So the morale is high, and they just keep working, man. So that's the culture that we've built, and they live by that.
The Green and White have 5 games left in the regular season. They've got battles against Ottawa, Toronto, Winnipeg, and BC. But first, they face the 5-9 Elks in Edmonton on Saturday. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock. And Ethan is back with one last look at your summer weather.
Yeah, summer weather for some of us and frost for others, possibly in parts of the province, especially up around Saskatoon and through west central areas. Lows pretty close to the freezing mark. Wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a minus temperature or 2 in there as we head into early Thursday morning. Nonetheless, a clear and calm night, I think, for many of us. Weirdly enough, I think some of the warmest temperatures province-wide Wednesday night will be in northern Saskatchewan. Places like Cree Lake and Wollaston Lake looking at maybe 7 degrees. Again, clear conditions, and that is a theme that continues as we head into Thursday morning. A little bit of increasing cloudiness, though, through the north as we head into Thursday afternoon, specifically into western sections. But these temperatures will get back up into the mid-teens. Again, a nice 5 or so degrees above normal for this time of year. The cold front will have moved through much of south and central Saskatchewan as we get into Thursday. So you'll notice here temperatures holding back a bit, maybe not quite the record-breaking 30-degree weather that we saw on Wednesday, but still quite nice, ranging from the upper teens out east down into the mid-20s in southwestern Saskatchewan. So snowsuits, definitely not a concern anytime soon, Sam.
Oh, thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
All right, well, that is it for us. For more news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/Sask or go subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. You can also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.